Okay, Ben, well, look, take us through the process of making a coffee, I guess, before you were using the Catcha coffee. Just take us through that mechanical process.
Sure, so the first thing we need to do is get the coffee into the portafilter, which is our fancy little handle thing that we stick in the coffee machine. Now, generally, we've got a grinder that doesn't have a doser, which is the click, 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 click that you get in other coffee places. So with us, we put the portafilter in, away it goes. Now, with this process, you're getting some spill over the side, just here.
You've got a nice little sort of conical mound there of freshly ground sort of coffee, haven't you? But a little bit of spillage there going on as you're trying to fill it.
Absolutely. So then the next step we do is we want to tap the portafilter, and that just settles all the coffee down. That's sort of our second stage of loss there, because as we're tapping it, it's falling over the side. As you can see there, you've got
a few grams of wasted
wastage
ground coffee there.
Then the important part, the tamp, has to be nice and even and nice and firm.
And that temp there, how much pressure are you actually sticking on that coffee?
About 16 pounds of pressure.
Right.
Yeah. From the right gun.
Precise.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got your biceps calibrated, have you?
I do, yeah. I do. It's very important. And then we polish the top and get a nice smooth.
And you do that with your hand, don't you, really? That's
we do that with the tamp, just by spinning it on the top there. You see that just
you get a nice
sort of,
yeah. So wastage so far has occurred at the grinder, on the edges here, and you see these paintbrushes often used for cleaning off the excess ground, and also there during the tamping process.
Absolutely.
You lost a little bit on the sides. And that wastage, how much would that account for a normal sort of cafe day-to-day running?
In a day for us, we were wasting up to about a kilo of coffee a day.
Which retail was a kilo, about $50?
A kilo, we're paying about 56 a kilo, but in retail terms, that's around about 45 coffees for us at 22 grams of coffee per coffee. Which retails at average sale of, say, $4 a coffee, so $180.
That's quite a bit of cash.
Yeah, it's not the cash you want to be losing.
No.
No.
So really, when Steve here, and I've got Steve over here, Steve Guinness, the inventor of the Catcha coffee, came along, it was something you were pretty keen to have a look at.
Yeah, I was quite excited actually to see it. It's a simple product, so
you're going to have a go at making one. And Steve, maybe you should talk us through how it works. I mean, what's the big idea here that you came up with?
Yeah, so we identified that problem that Ben was just talking about. We found out it was about sort of 5 to 10%, maybe an average of 8% waste. So we just came up with a solution, which we sort of started with a little muffin tray and just hacksawed the sort of bottom off it, and so that it acted as a little funnel. And then we sort of talked some engineering companies and got a proper sort of stainless steel funnel, and then attached a little handle to it, so that you can put your thumb, the barista can put the thumb on the handle, and the funnel obviously sits on the basket of the portafilter. So when they put it under the grinder, the funnel stops the coffee grinds from falling over the edge.
Show us in action, Ben, because essentially it's a flue that sort of sits on top of the little metal receptacle, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like a 1.5 centimetre lip.
Yeah, it's just it really is just a tiny wee funnel that sits over, and you see at that point there was nothing spilled over the side. It's all you can see what would fall over because it's sitting on the outside of the funnel there. And as we tap, it all settles nicely into the portafilter, and then tamp, polish, done. And there's nothing, well, very minimal, but pretty much nothing. And apart from the fact that we've wasted nothing, so we're not wasting any money, we know that coffee is going to have 22 grams of coffee in it. So that customer is going to get the coffee we intended to make them, not the coffee we intended to make them minus a little bit.
You're like a bit of a sort of a dance act come sort of aerobics mover here behind the coffee machine. I mean, you're expending a lot of energy. How much more does this add to the process of making a coffee? The fact you've got to put on this little sort of filter unit, this flue onto your basket.
When we first saw it, we did think, maybe that's going to take an extra step of work and it's going to be a bit more difficult. But it really is quite a natural thing. You put it on, your thumb's already there. It molds itself to how you hold the portafilter handle anyway. And so we've found it's not slowed us down even a little bit. It's just part of our natural routine. So yeah, we're quite fine with it.
And it does. I mean, it looks essentially like a magnifying glass with no lens in it, with sort of a slightly bent handle with a little thumb grip there to keep it. I mean, it's an incredibly simple piece of kit, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, that's right. We tried to keep it as simple as possible, and do the bare minimum for saving that waste.